who were on shows like Super Nanny, World's Strictest Parents, or Scared Straight? What was the experience like? I was on Scared Straight when I was 16. My mom thought sending me to prison for a day would fix my attitude problem, aka getting B's instead of A's and staying out past 9 p.m. once. The intake process was humiliating. They made us wear orange jumpsuits and walk through metal detectors while cameras followed our every move. My mom sat in the waiting room telling producers how I was spiraling out of control and needed to see where bad choices lead. I could hear her through the thin walls, making up stories about me skipping school and hanging with rough crowds. The whole thing was supposed to be inmates yelling at us to scare us straight. Most of the other kids were there for actual reasons: drugs, theft, fighting, gang involvement. Then there was me, honor roll student who volunteers at animal shelters on weekends and had never even gotten a speeding ticket. During the first session, this massive guy named Tank got in my face screaming about how prison would destroy me and turn me into someone's property. I just stood there confused because I'd never even gotten detention. The other kids looked at me like I was insane for being there. One girl whispered, "What did you do? Forget to make your bed?" But this one lifer named Miguel noticed something was off. He'd been watching me during the group intimidation, seeing how I flinched at every curse word and jumped when doors slammed. During lunch break, when cameras weren't rolling, he pulled me aside in the corner of the cafeteria near the vending machines. "Kid, I've been doing this show for 3 years," he whispered, glancing around to make sure guards weren't listening. "Your intake sheet doesn't match anything I'm seeing. Honor roll, no arrests, volunteer work, clean drug tests, perfect attendance. Why are you really here?" I broke down and told him everything. How my mom demanded perfection in literally everything I did. How she'd ground me for weeks over getting 89% instead of 90% on tests. How she monitored my phone 24/7, read my diary, and tracked my location constantly to find my iPhone. How she told the producers I was heading down a dark path because I asked to go to a friend's birthday party instead of studying for a test I'd already aced in practice. Miguel's face went dark. His hands were actually shaking as I talked. Turns out he had a daughter my exact age who died in a car accident 2 years ago. She'd been trying to escape her abusive home when it happened, driving in a storm at night because her mom had locked her out. Seeing my mom abuse the system to traumatize her perfect kid for TV ratings made him absolutely furious. "That woman doesn't deserve you," he said quietly, his voice breaking. "My little girl would have killed for a mom who cared half as much as you do about making everyone proud." During the big afternoon intimidation session, Miguel went completely off script. When it was my turn to get yelled at and broken down, he stood up and started speaking in this calm, deadly serious voice that somehow carried more weight than all the screaming. "Hold up, this kid's going places. Honor student, volunteers at animal shelters, never been arrested, probably never even jaywalked. What's she doing here?" He turned to face my mom through the glass partition where parents watched. "Lady, your daughter's not the problem. You are." The producers immediately tried to cut, frantically signaling to the cameras and whispering urgently into their headsets. But Miguel kept going, his voice getting louder and more passionate. "This girl's got more potential than half the kids who actually belong in here, and you're trying to break her spirit for what? TV drama? 15 minutes of fame?" Other inmates started joining in. Tank, who'd been screaming at me earlier about becoming someone's girlfriend, stood up and nodded vigorously. "Miguel's right. This kid's golden. Don't let your crazy mom mess that up." More voices chimed in, all defending me and calling out the obvious abuse. The whole room erupted. Inmates who'd been paid to terrorize us were now protecting me and calling out my mom. She was screaming through the glass that they were undermining the process and corrupting the program, while producers scrambled to regain control of their show. Security eventually cleared the room, but the damage was done. My mom was absolutely furious, ranting about how I'd manipulated everyone and made her look bad on national TV. She demanded they reshoot my segment with different inmates. My segment never aired. The producers said there were technical difficulties with the footage, but I knew they couldn't use material that made their show look abusive and exploitative. Miguel's words gave me the courage to move in with my dad at 17. My mom fought it legally, but the court sided with me when I showed them the falsified intake form she'd submitted to get me on the show. Best life advice I ever got came from a convicted murderer who saw through my mom's manipulation when everyone else believed her perfect mother act.